Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Total War Live for the reveal stream of The Silence and the Fury for Total War Warhammer II. Almost said the wrong game there. My name is Blondie, I'm a content producer here at Creative Assembly, and we are going to show everything, pretty much everything that is coming in the DLC for The Silence and the Fury. Unfortunately, as a content producer, I am not technically a developer, although I am involved in the development process and especially in the marketing process. So, to make sure that we get the most accurate information possible, we have brought some people with me, and I can do this to point towards them. So, to start off with, let's Alan, how's it going?
That's going good, yeah. I had a smile on my face throughout the whole trailer, and I still just thinking about it. As soon as the jabber comes out, you're just like, ooh, get chills. So it's really good and exciting to see it out there now, and people hopefully getting really excited about it.
Yeah, fantastic. So, so what do you do on Total War Warhammer 2? Or what have you done in this DLC?
For this DLC, I was the primary designer in charge of the Beastmen. So myself and a team of other designers worked on bringing glory to the Beastmen and hopefully making them as great as I always wanted them to be.
Fantastic. I've also brought with me today James on that end. James,
hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, not good, not bad, not bad.
Fantastic. Tell us what you what you've done on this DLC here, and I'm gonna go and raise my microphone because apparently it's a little bit loud or a little bit low.
Okay. Yeah, I'm James. I'm a designer on the Total War DLC team, and for this DLC, I was in charge of looking after Oxyotl and all of his features and campaign stuff. And now there's going to be an awkward silence as he runs back.
Fantastic. Just enough time to raise my volume a little bit. Hopefully chat can tell me that I am good now and people can hear me, as my booming voice cannot travel far enough across the internet. Sound is fine. Finally good. You're fine. Better. Fantastic. All right. So this is, well, technically we've already announced the game or the DLC, but this is an announcement stream, and if you have been here before for one of our announcement streams, you know how this is going to work. But for everyone else, let's just run it down. Today we're going to take a look at all of the features, all of the pretty much all of the content coming in the DLC and the accompanying patch. We are going to go through it. We're going to go in game. We're going to not just sit here and talk about it, because that would be, I mean, I have a lovely beard now. People have been commenting on it, but I don't think you just want to sit here and look at me all day. So we're going to go in game. We are not playing the game. That's not how this works. If you want to see gameplay, you're going to have to check out some of our influencer partners who are going to be putting out content on YouTube and Twitch and so on over the next coming 2 weeks. But we are still going to use the game to illustrate our points and check out some of the new mechanics. But we're not pressing end turn, we're not going into battles. If that's what you want to see, sorry, another day. We're also not going to be talking about any free LC. I know that we put out a video on Monday or announcing that there are 3 pieces of free LC coming. I was going to say which ones, but just so I don't say anything wrong, I'm not going to say which ones. You can go and check out the video. Brilliant video, if I have to say so myself. I made it. And so we're not going to be talking about that. I know a lot of people have been theorizing about what's going to be the free LC. Sorry, not today. But you will know in the next 2 weeks. Alright, so, James. Just broadly, this DLC, The Silence and the Fury, what is this entire DLC about? What's the conflict we're looking at here?
So it's the conflict between Taurox and Oxyotl. And so Taurox is an agent of chaos, he's a beastman, and Oxyotl is known for his hunting of chaos. So it's basically a grand conflict of Taurox wanting to do evil deeds and Oxyotl wanting to stop him doing evil deeds.
That sounds brilliant and very correct.
I'd just like to say from my side, I think Taurox is the not evil deeds. He's doing good deeds, just his own way.
So you're saying from your point of view, the Lizardmen are evil.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So let's not keep people waiting. Let's jump straight into the game. Let's see. There we go.
Nice.
So we are in game here as Oxyotl. We can see that he starts in the Vortex campaign. I might add, he starts in the very north of Nagaron here in Deadwood. We are currently on turn 11. This is an in-development version of the game still. So if there's anything that looks a little bit strange, that might very well be possibly because this is in development. So, Oxyotl, James, who is he? What's his lore? Why is he cool? I mean, he is cool, but why?
So Oxyotl, he's a chameleon skink, as I'm sure you noticed in the trailer. But in his time, he was known as, like, if not one of the greatest, the greatest of the skink hunters. And the reason I say in his time is because he's actually like a lizardman who's out of his time. So what happened was he was defending a settlement while demons were attacking, and it kind of got down to the last chambers. And one of the Slam was casting a ritual to hopefully wipe out the demons, and it ended up backfiring. It went wrong. It tore a hole in reality, and Oxyotl ended up getting sucked in and ended up thrown into the realms of chaos. However, because he is a master of adaptation, being a chameleon, and also a master of survival, being a great hunter, he actually managed to survive there. And, this was thanks to his ability to blend into his surroundings. As he was being pursued, he was able to set off ambushes and kill people. And he even went to the extent of, like, dousing himself in the blood of his enemies to mask his scent and stuff like that. Eventually, he did manage to make his way back to Lustria. But because time in the realms of chaos is chaotic, 7,000 years had actually passed. So even though it was only a year for him, it was 7,000 years back home. And he never tells anyone how he quite managed to get back. And, like, Slam were, like, in fear of even reading his mind to find out, just in case, having been in the realms of chaos for so long, what's in his mind that they were afraid to see. But yeah, since coming back, he's basically come back with a vengeance, and his whole shtick now is just stopping the forces of chaos from doing evil things, and letting chaos roaming free on the world. He always kind of arrives where he needs to stop that happening, and that's kind of where we pick him up in the campaign, is on the hunt for his next target.
Fantastic. So he's all about hunting chaos. That's his whole shtick. He did it in the realm of chaos, and he does it in the Warhammer world. How does this translate into game mechanics? Because this is a game, we play the game. What do we do as Oxyotl?
So there's kind of 3 areas of that story that we've kind of honed in on to make the mechanics out of. The first one being the fact that he is this master hunter and he's got this vendetta against the forces of chaos. The second one is this kind of thing where, he always just seems to know when and where they're going to strike, and he always manages to arrive there in the the nick of time in order to stop them. And the third one is this kind of mysterious circumstances of how he managed to return back, coupled with what we said before about always managing to arrive there in time. So, you know, we don't go into any details about how he manages to do it, but we kind of have this thing where he's able to travel to these events quickly. And, you know, that kind of comes back to what we were saying about the Slam being afraid to look into his mind, because, you know, we kind of maybe like to think maybe he's still got some sort of link to chaos that gives him visions of where they're going to strike, sort of like a chaosy spidey sense.
Fantastic.
And yeah, so that combined with his hunting instincts and this ability to traverse the map quickly, you kind of create this gameplay of having these visions, which we'll talk about in a sec, and then being able to travel to them quickly, get your rewards for doing the missions, and then being able to travel home and keep expanding your empire.
So let's take a look at the visions of the old ones, which is sort of the big one for Oxyotl. So what are we looking at here, James?
This is the Visions of the Old One panel. In this panel, as you can see, we've got a kind of world map, and that obviously changes depending on what campaign you're playing. And typically, you'll see at the moment you've got one vision marker there, but typically these will come in waves of missions. So you'll have like maybe 3 or 4 on the map at the same time. And as you progress through the campaign, more waves will spawn, especially as you've like completed previous ones. And visions are basically chaos themed missions. So like if you were to select that pip on the map, you'll see that we get the kind of the themes of the mission that's referring to. And not only do these missions come with rewards, but they also come with consequences if you don't complete them in time. So we kind of wanted to create this sort of XCOM-y style gameplay where you maybe can't get around and deal with them all each wave, and so in that respect you've got to decide which rewards do you want, which consequences are you willing to deal with, all while still trying to maintain your empire back home as well. Right. And to help Oxyotl navigate that, that goes back to what I said before about being able to travel quickly. So whenever you select which mission you want to go to, you're able to instantly travel to that location, with some limitations, of course, like only Oxyotl's army can do it. It's once per turn and a few other things. But yeah, so it's all about managing these missions, getting the big rewards that you want, and then heading back home once you've got your rewards to keep expanding your empire.
Right. So we have our one mission here. Hunt army is the mission. You can see some rewards and such. We're gonna get back to that, but let's do it. Let's travel. So we can see here that we have traveled to the army that we need to hunt, which is Galak Bloodgorge here. And I'm just going to take Oxyotl and attack him directly because we have something really cool to show you. A new resolve screen, or a new battle screen, which is honestly like all the stuff is cool, but like this is it for me. This is like we know exactly what result we will have. We know our casualties, but that's not even the best part.
What is the best part?
We talked recently in I forget if it was a blog or in a Q&A on Discord, but we've done some reworking on auto-resolving, and if we take a look here and mouse over auto-resolve, this is a Pyrrhic victory, we can see who dies. So here we can see on the left side which units will perish in this battle were I to auto-resolve it right now. No more guessing. We know exactly who's gonna die. Not when, well, when I click this this button, but so we can make more informed decisions about which battles to auto-resolve, which battles to fight. And I can see that the chat is going insane over this, 10 out of 10, everything. This is my big thing. I love this. I'm going to retreat from this because we're not going to fight the battle. But
I found it
yes,
super helpful, as I had situations where I'm like, oh, let me see who's gonna die in this first battle, especially in a lot of campaigns where you start with a really
yeah,
powerful unit right at the beginning, and you're like, if you see that's gonna die, it's like, actually, I'm gonna fight this battle and try to make sure it lives. It's not going anywhere.
mm. Yeah. There's nothing worse than starting a new campaign, auto-resolving the first battle, and your big cool unit that you're not going to be able to recruit back for another 20, 30 turns because you don't have the buildings. There's nothing worse than feeling that. So we've made it so that you can make more informed decisions about how you progress in the campaign. Um, so let's talk about second mechanic. You can see that there's something shining here above the frozen city. James, what does this icon mean? What is here in the frozen city?
So that is a silent sanctum. And so what a silent sanctum is basically a kind of new version of Skaven Under Empire or the Pirate Coves. In that it's kind of like a secondary building slots that can exist alongside an existing settlement. And so the kind of law behind this, it's not official law, we've made it up. But it's effectively like these are long lost temples, ruins, outposts kind of thing that Oxyotl knew about in the world 7,000 years ago. But because it's only been a year for him, obviously he still knows about them. And so whereas everyone else has forgotten about these places, he's able to go to each region in time and kind of find these lost temples and unlock them using the sanctum gems that you saw, which was one of the rewards of the vision that we just clicked on. He can unlock them and get a nice bunch of benefits for being nearby.
There's there's a specific building within the Silent Sanctums as well, which plays into the travel system in Visions of the Old Ones, which is the capstone. And do you want to tell us about the capstone?
Yeah, sure. As you mentioned, not only are you able to travel to the visions, you're also able to travel back to your faction's capital region. But within the Silent Sanctums, you can build a building which will give you a new pip on the map. I don't know if you're able to get back to the key. You can see it on the key on the visions panel. There you go.
Yeah.
The second bottom one there. So you'll get an icon there on the map which you can also travel to. The unique thing about this one is it can only exist in one of your Silent Sanctums at any one time. So if you construct it in a new place, it would deconstruct it in any of the previous location. So you won't end up with just being able to teleport everywhere. It's kind of a controlled thing, and you have to pay to move it each time. So it shouldn't be too spammy, hopefully. But yeah, like the other sorts of buildings you can get in the Silent Sanctums are they're more focused around supporting an army in that location. So whereas like the Undercity and the Pirate Coves, they were more focused around kind of supporting you in campaign, giving you stuff like growth and income. These ones are more meant to be sort of points of respite for Oxyotl, because we're sending him all over the map, and he doesn't necessarily have settlements in these locations that he's traveling to. So the Silent Sanctums are there to kind of support him, or another army that's moved manually, as they expand out of his own territory. So that it gives you benefits like vision for start with. You get complete vision, upkeep reduction, replenishment when in enemy territories, and even battle stats and battle abilities when you're within range of the sanctum or the adjacent regions as well. You can kind of use them in three ways. The first way is to help you, like I said, as you go out and do these visions. When you have a vision, you have vision of that area. So to construct a Silent Sanctum, it's actually a point and click interface. It's not like the other types where you need to send an agent there. When you have enough resources, as we're being shown now, you can click that button at the top, and any region that you have vision of, you can simply click and build a sanctum there, and Oxyotl unlocks it with his stash of sanctum gems. And once you've got that, you can start building up the buildings in it, and then you've got a much better advantage when you move to these areas. So the second way you can use them is in a similar fashion, but more for just expanding your own territory. So supposing you want to move into the province that's next to you, you could build a Silent Sanctum there, and just have a better time as you push and try and expand your territory. And lastly, you can just have them still existing, as you see with the one on the Frozen City. They stay persistent even as you take over the regions as well. So once you have taken over the regions, they can be used to help you defend your own borders as well.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of questions. You mentioned that it's only Oxyotl, his army, that can teleport or travel via the Visions of the Old One screen. No
Yeah.
one else can do it. Even if
But
you make...
importantly there, he's the only one who can use the teleport. But any of his armies can complete the missions. So if a mission does pop up within range of your own empire and you've got a second army there, you could manually move your second army over and complete that vision, and then Oxyotl can go and teleport and do one which is halfway across the world. So there is that interaction.
And then I also saw someone asking if these features are only available for Oxyotl, and yes, they are. Both the Silent Sanctums and the Visions of the Old Ones, only for Oxyotl. So only if you get the DLC can you get them. Of course, it's not a DLC unless we bring out some new units as well. So Oxyotl comes with some new units. I believe I have at least one of them in this army. Yeah, only one of them, which are these orange chameleons down here. So who are they? What units do we have there?
So the Chameleon Stalkers are the new Chameleon melee unit. They're basically stealthy melee units who've kind of got an all right chance to dodge. Then they don't have the highest armor, but they've got quite a good melee defense. And their kind of key feature for me is that they have a sort of explosive dart that they fire out as they charge into combat. And you maybe saw it in the trailer actually, as I think as they charged against the Jabberlife, they were shooting explosions into the side of it. So they are primarily a melee unit, but they have this short-ranged explosive attack that they shoot at their target as they're charging in. So they're great for ambushing and rear charges. So I tend to leave them off to the side using their stalk, let the enemy come towards me, and then I flank around behind them, shoot some explosions into their back, and get a rear charge off.
Fantastic. We also, some people noticed it in the What is War Total War Warhammer video that came out a couple of weeks ago now. We have the new unit, the Feral Troglodon.
Yeah, he's a
really cool unit.
Yeah, he's a cool new big boy. His kind of main selling feature to me is he's just got this really, really powerful spit attack. It's got a fairly decent range to it, and it just really chunks like a single entity. So it's really good for using against lords as they're approaching other large beasts. And once they do finally reach you, if they've managed to survive that long, he's pretty good in melee as well afterwards, and has some really cool animations and stuff like that.
Mm. And then lastly, for Oxyotl, or for the Lizardmen, we have, I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, but the Coatl? Is that it?
That's how I pronounce it as well.
All right.
Whether it's right or not, I'm sure chat will correct us. He's a monstrous flying beast, and he has access to some really cool spells. He has also a really cool passive ability where I believe any units that are underneath him, they gain stalk. I'll let Ben or someone explain that in more detail in a later stream. But yeah, he kind of has a cool interaction with units that are moving below him, as well as having some cool spells.
So people are asking for stats and stuff. We're not going to be showing you stats and such today. We will take that in a future stream. But before that, our influencer partners are going to be showing off pretty much everything. I'm not entirely sure when they can start putting out videos and streams, but it'll be pretty soon. All right, so I think we're going to leave Oxyotl there. Hopefully people who are into Lizardmen, which should be everyone, are happy with that. And if they are not, more content is coming. So I'm going to go back to this screen. Oh. And Alan, can you tell us a little bit about the Beastmen rework, because it's a big one.
Oh yeah, that is quite a lot of changes here. The Beastmen now should feel like a complete unique faction and very different from what they were before. We basically took a look at what made the Beastmen what they are as a faction, as a culture, as a thing, and we just went with that to try to live truly, to give you the best feeling of playing like the Beastmen and rampaging through the world wildly and beastly.
Fantastic. I'm gonna load into the Beastmen here. All right. Let me while this is loading. Alan, can you just try muting yourself real quick? I just want to see. Is it coming from you guys or is it coming from me? I think it's coming from me. Give me like a couple of words on herdstones while we look at Taurox the Brazil over here.
All right. So what the Beastmen can now do, they can, after winning a settlement battle, they can now erect a herdstone in that settlement. And what that does is it starts the blood ground. The blood ground is the region around the herdstone that are the Beastmen hunting grounds. The Beastmen get a lot of benefits from destroying settlements in a blood grounds, which tie into feeding a ritual that they can perform at the herdstone. And once they perform that ritual, that is how they are going to progress in their campaign. You can see there is a little number above the settlement, one that's currently captured and has a herdstone on the Venom Glade. That indicates how much devastation that is already in this blood ground. And more will be generated as you go around rampaging, razing, and destroying all the settlements around. Creating a herdstone will cost a resource called herdstone shard, which will be consumed once you create a herdstone in a settlement. You will get that resource back upon if you lose the herdstone for whatever reason before casting a ritual, or if you successfully cast a ritual. And that's how limits how much herdstone you can have at a time, but more will be given to the player as they progress through the campaign.
Yeah. So we have our herdstone shards here. We have currently 0 because we have already erected one, but the ritual is locked. So if I click on it here, we can see a bunch of icons here for how much devastation we would get from raising these.
So the coolest thing I find is that, like, as you already have that clicked on that center, you see the blood ground, so that area shaded in red. That is your current hunting grounds as the Beastmen. Those are the settlements that you want to destroy and raise and bring back to ruin. So the numbers above each of those settlements, those are the amount of devastation that's going to cause should you raise those settlements. The stronger the settlement is, the more dangerous it is for you to fight against, but of course that means the more devastation you cause. As you destroy settlements, that feeds into the main herdstone. So that little 4 you got there, if you destroy the settlement just to the north of you, that 4 will be added to your main herdstone, and that will become 8. Once you have caused a minimum of 10 devastation to a region, you'll be able to perform your ritual. But, of course, you probably want to cause as much devastation as possible, get that number to be the biggest you can be for the blood ground before pressing that ritual.
So there's so we're running around, we're raising settlements, which of course leaves them in ruins. And if there's anything I know about ruins is that you can colonize them. So won't if we're just running around raising things, won't that just leave things open for other factions to colonize them when we're gone?
Normally, yes, but not after you completed the Beastman ritual. So after you have raised enough settlements and you're ready to cast your ritual, and you perform that ritual of ruin, any raised settlements that are still raised when you press that ritual button cannot be recolonized until your herdstone is destroyed. So you don't lose your herdstone once you cast the ritual, you keep a hold of it, you still can raise armies from it and use it as a good defensive point. But the coolest thing is that those areas that normally can be recolonized, they cannot. Factions will have to destroy your herdstone before they're able to colonize again.
So you burn the world to progress. There will be no one living in your lands.
Nope,
other than Beastmen.
Which is great. Right. That's the aim.
So we get devastation from doing the rituals, but and we can see devastation is up in a bar here. We collect it. It's not a resource because we don't spend it, but we accumulate it. What do we do with it?
So devastation is what you cause in a region, but what becomes after you perform that ritual, devastation converts to marks of ruination, a one-to-one conversion. So if your number above your hearthstone is 12, when you press that ritual, you get 12 marks of ruination. It's a resource that you cannot lose, and that's your global progression. As you progress through the bar at the top, you unlock the capability of getting additional armies, raising the capacity of your units, more Hearthstone shards so you can do more Hearthstone, cheaper Horde buildings. So a lot of different progression there that you can gain as you destroy more of the world, and eventually it accumulates to unlocking your final battle and just allowing you to run rampant around the world.
Indeed. I saw some people asking, this is Beastmen rework stuff. We're getting to Taurox after we've done Beastmen. So we also have a unique resource for Beastmen up here. This red icon that I have 175 of. What is this?
That's Dread. That's what I would say is the new most important resource for the Beastmen. So as people can probably already see, favor there, you're no longer getting a background income, but you still have it, and we'll get at that a little bit. But Dread is going to be how the Beastmen is going to increase the unit capacity, unlock lords, heroes, permanent upgrades. It's going to be the way that the Beastmen go forward. And Dread can be gained in a number of different ways, but the most important way to get Dread is through battles. And the more casualties you cause in a battle, the more Dread you gain back.
Ah, so kill more, gain more.
Pretty much, and you want to do a lot of that.
So the people on stream can't see it, but there's a button here, which is a new button called Rewards of Dread. Should I click it? Do the chat want me to click it?
Do they actually want to see it?
I don't know. I think we should just end the stream here and, I don't know, go home.
Probably.
Go to the pub, have a pint. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, people are telling me to do it. Click it. Oh, I guess we'll click it then.
Since they asked,
Rewards of Dread.
So this beautiful panel here is incredible. Look at that background. Sorry.
It looks great.
This is the main panel for Beastmen.
Here's where we're spending our dread.
Yeah. See, I get overexcited, so I talk a lot.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I saw in chat when the Jabberslith came into the trailer, comes out of that cave. People were super excited. Here we have concrete evidence. Yes, the Jabberslith and the Gorgon. Oh, you can't actually see the Gorgon. Well, sucks to be you guys. They are both units in this, but we'll talk about the units a little bit later. So what do we do in Rewards of Dread? What do we do on the screen here?
Number of different things. So the first thing you do is in this panel here is increase unit capacity. So Beastmen's units no longer cost favor and no longer have an upkeep amount. So they are all done by capacity now. And in this panel here is how you increase the capacities for the units that you have unlocked and have enabled to increase capacity. Some units are locked, as you can see by the little blue icon on the unit cards. If you hover over them, it tells you how much marks of ruination you need before you can increase the capacity of a unit group or individual unit. But other units are unlocked from the get-go. So if you have enough dread, you press that button, you increase the capacity of specific units, and then you can have that on your army as long as you got capacity as well, which is great. Allows you to refill your army fairly quickly.
So, as some people have rightly noticed, there are no Ungor spears without shields. There are no Ungor bowmen or anything. Thus, if I haven't upgraded my Ungor spearmen and herd and such or anything else, does that mean that I'm unable to have a full 20 unit army?
Oh no, you are completely able to have a full 20 stack of the Ungor spearmen, shields, and without shields, if you like. Those are the Ungor bowmen. Those are the free units. So those are the units you can have as many as you want without having to worry. So if you want to just sit there and have a 20 stack of bowmen for the Beastmen, I don't know why you would, but you might challenge yourself. You can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, they suck. We also have a quick question. Does recruitment still require buildings? Yes. Just because you've unlocked the units here does not mean that you can recruit them.
Yes, and also once you constructed the building, all units have a base capacity of one. So the first time you've constructed a Minotaur building, for example, you can recruit at least one Minotaur. So you don't feel like you're missing out from constructing the building or having to spend dread straight away. So it also gives you a little flavoring of what more you can get if you have the enough dread to get more of those units, which is good.
Indeed. So if I like legendary lords. How do you guys feel about legendary lords and
I like that.
confederating?
James?
You feel good about confederations? So what if I clicked on lords and heroes? We
So
have
this
some
panel here.
returning favorites.
Oh yes. So this panel here does two different things. It does one of them is you can increase the capacity of your heroes, but the most exciting thing for me is as someone that likes to play with all the legendary lords eventually in one faction is allows you
Mm.
to acquire the beautiful Beastmen legendary lords. So if you're playing Taurox as you are here and you really want a Morgor, you really want to play with him, if you have enough dread, you can press that button and gain that lord. If he is currently alive somewhere on the map doing his own rampages in the world, you confederate that faction as an option. If he is dead, sadly as it happens with Beastmen, sometimes they do die.
Mm.
Then you gain that lord as a recruitable lord for your faction, which is a great way for you to get all the beautiful beastmen into one faction and destroy the world that way. And if you click that little button there, it shows the stats that is quite obvious, so you have an idea what you're getting.
Indeed. I'm not going to click it because
Oh
let's
yeah,
let
that's fair.
people explore things as well. There are also two more tabs, let's call them here, upgrades
Hmm.
and items. We're going to leave those for the future because I'm evil. Uh,
That sounds like a good plan.
indeed.
I wonder what's
So
hidden.
exactly, what's hidden on in the upgrades and the items? They're pretty cool stuff. So one of the big changes we've made is to Bestial Rage. That worked very differently before this patch, if I recall.
Yes. So Bestial Rage before used to, after you got to a certain amount, you used to summon a Grey Herd by your side that roamed around and helped you destroy things here and there. And after a while, they disappeared and it came fluctuated back up and down. Considering how the Beastmen go now with the pretty much no unit upkeep and being able to be a wave of themselves, we done away with that. So now
Mm,
Bestial Rage is the main way for you to increase your horde growth. Um, so the more you fight battles, the higher your bestial rage grows. So the faster your horde grows, the more you can construct those buildings that give you access to those powerful units and other powerful effects. And of course, if you just sit idly by, you gain very little bestial rage, and it will sometimes not at all. So it's really to tie into that gameplay of the Beastmen of to be constantly fighting, constantly going forward, and destroying every enemy in the path. So you get rewarded quite a lot for doing that as well, with some additional powerful effects if you're at highest bestial rage.
mm. Um, fantastic. And then last thing is that research works a little bit different for Beastmen than it does for most other factions.
Yes, so they still have a little bit of the research, but now how it's going
Mm,
to work is all the texts are going to be locked at right at the start, and before you get access to them, you have to complete some challenges. Some challenges are going to be quite straightforward to do, such as win 5 ambush battles. So as you progress through the campaign, you'll be able to do that.
mm.
Others, if you want to show one, if you hover over the which one is it? War Herd Ravages, I think it is one.
All right,
Um,
we're gonna do
and a bit,
we're gonna leave the rest to for you to explore
yeah.
yourself, but we'll show Warherd Ravages.
Others are a bit more difficult for the players to do, such as winning 4 battles in a single turn.
Mm,
If you manage to do that, which is very difficult to do at first, you also be able to get your powerful effect from it as well. So we changed it up a little bit to give the players something to actively go for as they're progressing through, and there's some decisions to make when wanting to unlock certain technologies.
exactly. Fantastic. So that is the Beastman rework. Hopefully, everyone will enjoy going back and playing old One Eye and the Shadow Gave and who's the third? Who am I forgetting?
Kazrak, Malagor, and Morgor.
I forget who is who. Anyway, let's talk about Taurox. So who is Taurox? He's a big bull, but what's special about him?
So he is a very beautiful looking, shiny Minotaur. He is the brass bull, the blood beast, the slaughterhorn. He has many different names. It sounds really badass, and of a Minotaur you do not want to mess with. So
Mm.
he was known throughout Tablecland for having Talabekland, I can't say that properly, for having rampaged and destructions and just doing what Beastman does best, but at 1000 level. His body was not always the shiny brass. He used to have a normal fleshy body, but his ferociousness and his anger was pretty much at a high level anyway. So as he's rampaging through, going through his madness as he usually does after a certain battle, one of the envoys of the Dark Gods approached him as with an offer. But before he could even say anything, Taurox just grabbed him, bit his head off, and drunk upon his blood. This caused him to get some visions of the world destroyed and washed in blood, corpses everywhere, and he went on a rampage. Like for a year and a day, he did not stop, just killing everything and everyone in his path. It doesn't matter if you're beastman, if you're human, if you're dwarf. Nope, if you're in his way, you're pretty much dead. So he just done that. He killed so many people in a village that he left a river of blood behind. And in that river of blood is where he collapsed exhausted, nearly about to die. But as the dark powers usually are, they like to be a bit sneaky. They decided to play a little bit more with Taurox. They made him reborn anew with a beautiful body of brass, except for a little patch around his neck that is still flesh, because nothing with chaos is fully 100%. And with this, he drunk upon the river of blood in front of him. It made his blood boil. That's why he's constantly smoking. That's not only because he looks awesome, it's because he's literally boiling from the inside at all times. And he just doesn't stop now. His rampage is even more than before. He is a madman. And he looks, I just love the looks of him. Look at those axes as well. I want them just because they look so amazing.
Fantastic. And those axes do play into his questing line. So what is Taurox's campaign all about? What do we do as Taurox?
So leaning on from that vision that he got, he gets visions from the dark powers once more about, if he manages to enact one of the greatest rituals, he will be rewarded for his deed. They never specify what the reward is, but he has assumptions of what he wants and what he wants to get. And the best way for him to do that is to perform a big ritual of ruin in the mightiest of hearthstones in the world, in the Heart of the Dark. But the Heart of the Dark is a elusive place for beastmen. Many go on pilgrimages for years and years to never find it. So what Taurox is doing is he is rampaging through, casting rituals, erecting hearthstone, destroying the land until he finds his path. And hopefully, eventually, he will find his path into the Heart of the Dark and get his just rewards.
Fantastic. So how does that translate into game mechanics? What do we do in the campaign as we play?
So you erect your hearthstones, as you have one there. You destroy the areas around. You perform your rituals of ruin, progress with your marks of ruination at the top there. And once you've acquired enough, the way towards the Heart of the Dark will be open for Taurox. He will find his way forward, and he will know exactly where he needs to go to enact that final ritual. But however, even as that's happening, he gets the sense that something is tailing him, but he doesn't exactly know what.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No worries. I said even as that's happening, he gets the sense that something is tailing him, but he doesn't exactly know what.
He also has, of course, unique mechanics. Specifically, they are Rampage and Momentum. So what is Rampage and Momentum?
So Momentum, I'll start with that very quickly, is that little button just below the top button that you see. That it's how much time does Taurox have to continue this rampage and to achieve it. Now, if you click that bottom there at the top, it will open up his rampage bar. So Taurox is all about fighting and killing. So the more you fight and kill, you start to fill up that bar. And as you get to certain thresholds, you unlock rewards at certain rampages that are quite powerful and unique and gives you many different options. And every time you win a battle, you get a momentum back. Every time you end turn, for example, or retreat from a battle or lose a battle, you lose a momentum. So what you want to try to do essentially is to hit the final rampage reward before you run out of momentum. If you run out of momentum, your rampage restarts. If you get the final reward, your rampage also restarts. But with Taurox, it's all about fighting, going forward, and constantly rampaging through. And to tie into that and to enable Taurox to do that even more, once he has hit the first rampage, he will be able to use momentum to regain his action points. So it's a risk versus reward there, where if you think you got enough things around you to fight and to destroy, then spend your momentum, get your action points back, and go ahead. And you can do that as long as you got momentum to spend. But of course, if you hit 0, that's that rampage over.
And as you can see here on the first tier, which is harsh rampage, we actually have the option of 4 rewards. We get to see the Eldritch Onslaught rewards here, but I'm going to leave the rest for you to explore yourself. There are also different, better rewards for a Savage Rampage, and of course, even better than that for Cataclysmic Rampage. So, do I have, if I want to go for the Cataclysmic Rampage rewards, do I have to skip over the Harsh Rampage, or can I get everything?
You can get everything. So, of course, you will only be able to get 1 reward per tier that you get. But as you progress, you'll be able to pick a Harsh Rampage reward, a Savage Rampage reward, and a Cataclysmic Rampage reward. So you get 1 of each. And the cool thing is each of them are tailored to fit different points that you are. So it's very open to like, oh, I need this to help me right now, and you can pick it, which I find really useful.
Fantastic.
And it fits Taurox.
Let's talk about the new units that are coming for the Beastmen and Taurox. Starting off with the Doom Bull. We're going to have to do this quickly because we are quickly running out of time.
Of course. So Doom Bull, they are powerful Minotaur lords. They are the strongest and ferocious of all Minotaurs, and they are great leaders of an army. They are basically, I personally like to think of them as Taurox light, while Taurox is of course probably the best Minotaur there is. These guys are still not to be messed with. They are huge, powerful 1v1 machines. You just send them in there and they're going to destroy whatever you put in their way. They are really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And I'd like to just clarify, I am not incredibly battle-verse, but I'm just saying things as I understand as I've played them.
That's fine. We've also got the, some people were spotting it earlier, we've got the Wargore hero. So what's the Wargore all about?
They are a really good, what I like to use them for, they're great at buffing an army. They provide, they have some powerful area effects for allies around them and within range that really enhances their defense and how they fight, which is very good. They are powerful heroes in their own, and they are quite good at what they do, but they are better used to really enhance the units around your army to make them fight better, and they're quite fun. They are the Menbane. So
we've also got Tuskgore chariots. Some people might have noticed it earlier. We've got Tuskgore chariots. I think those are pretty self-explanatory. They're chariots with Tuskgore.
Yeah, and to be fair, that makes a huge difference, because these Tuskgores, they are brutal beasts. Like, no horse will be able to stand against them. And while the Tuskgore chariot itself is a mix mash of build, I wouldn't want to be standing in the way of one of them, as if they just ram into you, you're probably not gonna be very happy about it.
Right. Quickly then, we've got the Jabberslythe, who was in the trailer.
Yes, the beautiful big. This monstrosity, they are grotesques. They are a weird mismatch of different creatures and monsters, but they are really good. You send them into an infantry unit, they are gonna destroy it, chew its head out. They even have this interesting aura around them as well, affecting the enemies they are fighting around them. I'll let people find out what that is as they go, but yeah, they are fun, and they're just really cool to see what they do. Just watch them, watch how they fight. They're really entertaining.
Indeed. We've also got the Gorgon, lastly.
Well, 4 arms are better than 2, and this is what these guys brings. They are massive. They've got a lot of health. They've destructive force. I feel like what we've done for Beastmen is just give them a lot of destructive forces, and they are really good monster killers. You send them in there, they're gonna wreck. There's be no giant that's gonna be able to stand against a Gorgon. They're gonna make sure they do the best to rip them apart, and also they also look amazing.
Exactly. All right. So I want to remind everyone that we are not talking about the free LC today. There are stuff, things, people. Well, people might be arguable. There are things coming, both normal free LC and Total War Axis free LC that will be announced in the next coming 2 weeks. We are not talking about that today. I know we are slightly over time, but I think we would be remiss to not take just a couple of questions. So if anyone in the chat has a question or two for our developers here, now is the time, because we've only got time for like maybe two. I've seen a lot of people asking. So one of the Beastmen, I think it's Malagor, has some wings. Are those just for show?
Not anymore.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Oh God, that was a terrible thing to start with. Oh God. Yes, Malagor can fly. Come on. Any more good questions? James, we have a good question for you. So, Geomantic Web, does that play into Oxyotl's campaign at all?
No, but there are rewards in the visions which will buff the geomantic web for you, so you don't have to build the buildings. So you can kind of buff the geomantic web across your entire empire without needing to have the buildings on, as one of the many rewards you can get for completing visions.
Fantastic. Yes or no from both of you? Do the legendary lords start in the same position in the Vortex campaign and in Mortal Empires? Just yes or no?
Yes. For
Roughly. Roughly for
Right.
Beastmen.
Fantastic. Let's see. Do the AI Beastmen do the Herdstone rituals? So that you can't...
Some of them do.
So that you can't colonize. There you go. Fantastic. Let's see. My God, there's so many questions.
Which is
I should have
good.
taken questions
It's
before,
exciting.
beforehand.
Seems like they're as excited to talk about this than as me and James
Yeah,
want
exactly.
to make it.
Here we have one. Are the Beastmen, the old Beastmen lords, separate factions now?
They are. So now the Beastmen Lords, Kazrak controls the Warherd of the One-Eyed, Malagor controls the Harbinger of Disaster, Morgor controls the Warherd of the Shadowgave, and Taurox has the Slaughterhorn tribe. So yeah.
Let's see. Is the Skink Oracle in the game?
Yes.
Fantastic. Let's see. Free LC info when? Sometime in the next 2 weeks, probably. Let's see. I'm gonna pick a last one. Actually, I'm gonna pick a second to last one, but while I find a good one. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
I don't want to answer. That's very divisive. It's
I'm
a
gonna
divisive
answer
topic.
yes. You can stay neutral. I'm gonna answer yes. Hawaiian is my favorite. Good. All right. So we have a question here. So when Skaven take the ruins within a blood ground before you've done a ritual, what happens when you press the ritual button?
So what if they take colonize a settlement, for example?
Yeah.
Then that settlement would, of course, not be ruined. So, in a way, because Skaven will control it, so it will not stop it from being colonized. But do what I do: just go back there and kick them out. It's your turf, not theirs.
The Beastmen actually have a cool... I don't know if this was intended, but I haven't said anything because I really liked it. And I don't actually know if this is the case in the current build, but it was in the build that I last played on. So if you erect a blood ground, and there are ruins in there that are owned by Skaven, they may or may not show that they would give marks of ruination, whereas a ruin gives no marks of ruination. So if you see a ruin that gives marks of ruination, things are probably happening there that you might want to go and check out before you do your ritual.
If the Dark
It's
Lords are telling you there's something there, might as well go.
Exactly. A little cheat for the Beastmen. So that is going to be it for us today. Thank you all for watching. Alan, James, thank you for joining me. This has been great.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. This has been amazing. I love it.
And until next time, thank you very much. Go play Total War. Go buy it. Go get 10% off on the Silence and the Fury. Pre-order. It helps us. And then tell people that you did it because of the stream. That doesn't help CA. That just helps me. Anyway, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.